All right, here we go. On the Mad River for the first time in 2022. The water's moving good. 4.5 miles an hour without even paddling. Perfect. So the Mad River actually begins just a few miles down the road from my house. And it just looks like a drainage ditch. But as it gathers water from all the feeder streams, about 5 miles beyond that, it begins to look like a small river. And then maybe 10 miles, I'm guessing, it becomes floatable. And that would be at Lions Park in West Liberty, Ohio. However, if you start there, which I have done several times, there are a couple spots where you're going to drag bottom and a couple massive trees that you have to navigate around. You actually have to pull your kayak out and go around them. They've been there for years. So the actual official starting spot of the Mad River, if you're through paddling the entire length of the Mad River, which is approximately 42 to 44 miles, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's 52. Man, I can't remember right now. Anyway, it begins at Lipponcott Rd. That's where the canoe livery begins their upper river drop-off spot. The Birch Bark Canoe Livery, which we'll be passing here in a little while, and I'll point that out when we pass it. There's not really a good spot to begin above Lipponcott. It's just a few miles south of West Liberty at Lions Park. So I began at Lipponcott Rd today, and we're gonna see how far I get. There's a chance I could through paddle this entire river all the way to Deeds Park in Dayton, where it merges with the Great Miami River and then travels all the way to the Ohio River. So we got pretty swift water today. It's a little murky, not quite as dark as chocolate milk, but we did have some major storms just 2 days ago. So the water is still clearing up. I would say the water levels are almost back to normal. I think it's just up a few inches right now, but it's definitely moving a little quicker than normal. And so I'm gonna make some good time. I hit the river at high noon. So I have almost 7 hours at 4 miles an hour. That's 28 miles. That's a good chunk of this river. So we'll see how far we get. I brought all my backpacking gear with me. I intend on spending the night out here and finishing the river in the morning and having my wife pick me up wherever I end up at. If that's Deeds Park in Dayton, where it joins up with the Miami River, the Great Miami River, that would be awesome. So let's get paddling. We'll see how far we get. Love the Mad River because no matter how hot it can be, you always have shaded areas from all the trees hanging over the river because it's only like 40, 50 feet wide. And the water stays fairly cool year round. This is so peaceful. If you guys remember that heat wave a while back where it was like 96 to 98 degrees all over Ohio, I think it was actually all over the Midwest after those big storms that rolled through. That is now. The storms were 2 days ago, and it was 96 yesterday or 98, and it's gonna be the same today. Well, we just passed the 296 put in. There's a family back there enjoying the water, as am I. It's gorgeous out today. One of the things that is so great about today, being on the river, is that it's a Wednesday. Midweek, it's very quiet out here. Now that's a different story on the weekends. I would not want to be out here on a Friday or Saturday when there's a heat wave like this, because it is like playing bumper cars with canoes and kayaks and tubes and floating bottles of booze that are empty or full. There's also a slight tinge of yellow in the water from all the frequent urinating happening, and a haze of marijuana smoke floating along a few feet above the water. So far, I have not seen another floating vessel on the water. This is a nice example of some of the little rapids that you encounter along the Mad River. This is a fun little section, probably going about 5 miles an hour through here. No white water, nothing scary, but it's fun. Perfect for any age and experience level. Well, there's something new I haven't seen before. Here we are at Birch Bark Canoe Livery. 5 miles in on this float. Right there's where you take out if you're just doing the short float. or this may only be the halfway mark if you are taking it all the way down to County Road 55. Maybe it's, yeah, I think it's County Road 55. I think they also have a takeout at 36, which is only up here a couple miles. State Route 36 near Urbana. So my plan for this trip today originally was to possibly through paddle the entire river down to Deeds Park, where the river flows into the Great Miami River. But there might be a slight change of plans. I have to plant sweet corn and green beans tomorrow morning. I wanted to do it today before I came out on the water, so I had some more free time for this. But it was too muddy, still too wet from the huge rainstorm we had a couple days ago. So I want to give it one more day to dry out. I have to plant corn and beans tomorrow morning. And you may be asking, why do you have to do it tomorrow morning? Can't you do it tomorrow afternoon? There's a chance of rain tomorrow afternoon. And if I miss this window of opportunity to plant, I'm gonna have a gap in my harvest window. You have to plant corn and beans like every 7 to 10 days. And it's been over a week. It's like 8 days since I've planted. I have to get corn and beans in the ground or I'm gonna have a big gap in my harvest. So now they're calling for rain, 40-50% chance of rain at 11 a.m. So I have to get home fairly early in the morning to get in the field and plant. So it doesn't look like I'm gonna get to through paddle the entire Mad River, which is fine. I'm just gonna go for another 4 or 5 hours yet here tonight, and we'll see what happens. There might even be a little surprise in the works. I'll let you know about that here a few more miles down the river, what's going on tonight. Well, we're coming up here on US Route 36, which connects Urbana and Pickaway. I see some kids playing in the Lowhead Dam there, just past the bridge. You can go over it, but you're gonna get wet. So I'm going to Portage on the right, river right, to go around this Lowhead Dam. Well, it looks like I'm gonna be filming the rest of this video on my old iPhone 8. I had a little mishap at the US Route 36 Lowhead Dam. Everything was going good. I didn't go over it. I probably should have, but it was about a 2-foot drop, pretty good size hydraulic, and I didn't want to risk it with all my gear, so I tried to skirt the outside and Portage, river right, like I said earlier, and it was pretty fast water, and you couldn't see the rocks very good. So it was a little sketchy. So I kind of let my kayak go down and let some kid, some 13 or 14-year-old kid kind of hold it. Well, I kind of went down the rocks, and as he was holding it, the kayak tilted just a little bit, and that rushing water just instantly filled my kayak and sunk it. And I was prepared. I had my iPhone put away in a dry bag, but I only had my camera inside my cooler. So as the water was rushing into my kayak, it pulled everything out. I lost a towel and a t-shirt, and of course my blue cooler got pulled out, and that's where my camera was being stored. I should have had it in its own dry bag. I thought, if it got a little bit wet in here, that the cooler would protect it, but the cooler was rolling around underwater and this hydraulic, the kid's holding it, and I was like, hey, I need that blue cooler right away. There's a camera inside there. So he handed it to me, and I opened it up right away, took the camera out, and it was drenched in water. There was probably a quart of water inside my cooler, but it's toast. I've been drying it out in the sun here for the last hour, but it won't turn on. So it looks like it's gonna be the old iPhone 8 for the remainder of this trip, unfortunately. Currently at Tremont City Road, making good progress. Just about to Springfield. So last year I did a hike, float, and cook video on the Mad River. And this is where I stopped to cook my steak along the Mad River. Nice little gravel spot there. Well, if you needed a spot to camp or cook along the Mad River, this is the spot, just a quarter mile past Tremont City Road. Even though the water is high, that is the perfect spot to pull over and cook some food. It is hot out here. I'm getting toasted pretty good. Upper 90s. And when you're out in the full sun, it is a scorcher. So I'm trying to stay in the shade as much as I can along the right side of the riverbank here because I do not want to get burnt. This is a great area to stop and camp or take a break and cook. This is shortly after Eagle City Road, but before the Springfield overpass. So I believe Eagle City Road was just back that way, about a half mile. Well, I have arrived here where I plan to take out here at Springfield at the Route 40 overpass. Got some nice graffiti here, right here at Bechtel Avenue. Instead of through paddling the entire river, I decided to take out here because there's been a change of plans. Stay tuned to see what's going to take place here next. But right over there, there's a little rope swing. I'm going to throw a piece of footage up right now of me doing a couple flips on that rope swing 2 years ago. That's a fun one. But yep, there's the kayak, getting ready to drag it up the path to the pickup area, and I'll let you know what's going on here in a few minutes. So right down that path by the bridge is where I took out my kayak, ending my 17-mile float in 5 hours. It was very relaxing and enjoyable. So like I said, you know, my plans have changed. I'm not gonna through paddle the entire river. I got picked up. My kayak's in the truck already. My wife was supposed to get me, but instead, someone else decided to come down and join me. Who could it be? It's the Colonel! Who else would it be? Colonel always comes to save the day.
Oh man, it's like I've got nothing else to do.
We got some good grub. We're heading over to Buck Creek State Park, just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. We're gonna start us a fire, cooking some bratwurst. We got some sweet corn, not Ohio sweet corn. It's only June, come on.
Peruvian.
Don't get crazy. Peruvian, no. It's Georgia sweet corn. Florida or Georgia. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, let's get to the campground, find a good shaded spot to set up, get this fire going. Come along. Well, we have arrived here at Buck Creek State Park and picked out a little primitive site to cook some dinner. We got sweet corn and brats, chips, potato salad, and coleslaw. Colonel, are you looking forward to this?
Absolutely.
It's finally cooling down. The humidity has went away. We got a nice breeze. I was able to fly the drone a little bit. Buck Creek is just a beautiful place. And I was very tempted to hammock camp or tent camp here. I had all my gear sprawled out, drying from the river excursion mishap today. Everything's dry and put away, and now we're just cooking sweet corn. Next up, bratwurst. Colonel's getting hungry.
Hey, you know what I'm looking forward to the most?
Oh yeah, the Wishwell Farms sweet, hot pepper relish.
Oh, this is
We
hot.
like it hot. Well, the sweet corn's looking good here at Buck Creek State Park. We weren't quite getting the flames and heat we wanted, so I put some small twigs down there, and now we're getting a little too much. That's all right. I'd like having a little bit of char on my corn.
What do you
It's
think?
adequate.
Is
I
it
mean, for Georgia or Florida.
Georgia, Florida line?
Picked a week ago, it's not bad.
Okay.
I've had better.
Had better, but had worse. Well, guys, this was a fun trip. I kind of crashed it. I wasn't a main character in this video, but that's all right. I mean, a little bit of Colonel is well needed everywhere. Thanks for coming along, and we will see you again next time.